Hello. Just explaining a tricep routine that I did 6/4 2025. It was circuit style giant set. Started off with hammer bar extensions on the floor. And the way I did those is I went to my neck. I used to do them this style, but I feel like the tension is greater on my triceps when I do it to my neck. So of course, when you're doing that, I wouldn't recommend doing that like with a maximum weight. Stick to the higher reps, and because it could be dangerous. Using your neck as a point. Of course, I wasn't slamming it in my neck or anything like that. It was just the location of where the bar went, and I did feel that more in my triceps. So if you've never tried that, I would suggest giving it a try, because I just feel like over my head or to my head, it just didn't feel like it was working my triceps quite as much. So that point for me, kind of like a JM press, that's kind of the point where you go for a JM press. So I did feel it more in my triceps. So as I said, I used higher reps. And the weight was very minimum because I was doing this in a circuit style. So started off really light and then worked up to kind of a heavier weight. So I was going up in 5-pound increments, but I decided at the end there I just kind of wanted to finish off in a way, because I felt like I could have just kept going had I just been doing the 5-pound increments. So towards the 5th set area, I did add just 20 pounds just to finish it off. So I would do a set of the hammer bar extensions, and then I went to these, I just call them hand walks. So this is a Sledgebell. It's an old barbell, and I've talked about this before, so I apologize if you've already heard this. But it's just a barbell, 3/4 of a standard barbell. It comes in parts, and they're just held together with these pins. So I didn't use this anymore, and I decided to, I said, you know what, I could use this for sledgehammer work. So this is just a movement that I came up with, and you just hold it behind you, start at the top, and then just walk your hands down. And I use, there's a part here where it's like a lip, and I use that as a guide to stop. So I just go to that lip and then work my way back down. And I just did this for reps. So up and down counts as 1 rep, and then back down. So, I mean, if you had some shoulder flexibility problems, you probably wouldn't be able to do this. But I don't find, I mean, you're not using too terrible much of weight. So I didn't find this too taxing on my shoulders or anything like that. But it did make my triceps burn quite a bit. So as you can see, this is the lip here. Hopefully you can see that. But that's where I walked my hand to. And the reason for that is if I went any lower, I would hit on the ceiling. So definitely don't want to hit on the ceiling. So it worked out well that lip was there. Gave me a guide to base my reps on. So as I said, this was a rather lightweight. The bar itself weighs 6 pounds. So I just did 6 reps on this, and the reason for that is the tension is held for the entire time, so you start to burn out pretty quickly because the tension is always on your triceps during this movement. So towards the end there, I did do 4 reps. So my last 2 sets, I did 4 reps. And then the third movement I did, and these were all in order. So the hammer bar, the Sledgebell, and then the kickbacks, they were all, that would count as 1 set. And then I just do it over again. So like I said, it was circuit style. So if you already know what that is, I apologize, but I'm just explaining for those that don't know. So with the kickbacks, they weren't really strict reps. They were at first, but then as the weight increased and my fatigue increased, I did swing. So they weren't strict, so you will see that in the video. towards the end. So, and I find that those, like even doing the swingy style of those, as long as you're trying to hold the tension at the top, it will burn. If you've never tried the kickbacks, they are pretty effective at giving you quite a burn in your triceps. So I think I've explained everything there. It's a rather short routine, maybe about 15-20 minutes. I hadn't done my triceps in a minute, and I wanted to get some work in. So that's what I chose to do. So if you have any questions, comments, or tips, I'm always open to tips, always open to new programs. So if you have any suggestions for anything like that, you can go ahead and leave it, and I'll give it a try. Appreciate you tuning in, and have a good rest of your day.